Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Puranam Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashaadhyayinim Ambat Tvamanusandadhami Bhagavad Geetā Bhavadveshini. Bhagavad Geetā needs to be studied by one and all. And the way Lord Sri Krishna is presenting arguments after arguments, urging Arjuna to do his duty, not to come under likes and dislikes, not to be swayed by fears or anxieties. The way Sri Krishna presents his case is something that everybody, as I said before, but definitely lawyers, attorneys, advocates will have to study and draw inspiration from. Bhagavad Geetā is everybody's handbook. Though at times even students of Vedanta may move away from the Gita, saying, oh, it is simple, I am now into Upanishad and so on. When they revisit the Gita, they will find that, oh, though it is simple, yet it is so profound. Though we know it, there is so much more to know, and so on. No wonder IIM Ahmedabad has now introduced a course on Bhagavad Gita for its MBA students. This was announced a couple of weeks ago. And then I was told by some insider that IIM Bangalore already has some classes on Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, managers and executives, lawyers or attorneys, and of course, all of us interested in spiritual progress need to study the Bhagavad Gita. In the mantras that we saw last Wednesday or Tuesday evening in the West, the verses talked about how Sri Krishna gives his own example. In the 24th, which we saw last, Utside Urime Lokaha. All these worlds will get destroyed. In fact, whenever we study history, we find that empires, big kingdoms got destroyed when the leadership was weak, when the leadership was distracted, lost its focus, whereas kingdoms grew in strength or stayed very firm for a long time when king after king was very well versed in the art of discharging royal duties. Thus, there can be no two opinions about the importance of, on one hand, right leadership, on the other, the examples of the leaders having an influence on all the other people. All the lokas would get destroyed if I keep quiet, if I remain idle, says Sri Krishna. Sankarasya cha kartasyam. I will be causing, if I keep away from the field. So much of confusion that more and more people would leave Swadharma. People leaving Swadharma and adopting Paradharma leads to lot of confusion in the society that is called Sankara. And eventually, I will be causing irreparable damage to people, he says. Having given his own example in couple of verses, now Sri Krishna takes up in the 25th such a wonderful practical advice to all of us. For in us, there are two personalities. Part of us is very attached to work. And there is another part which says, I don't want to do anything more. Let me just keep away. Part of us thus wants to run away from duties. Sri Krishna says, no matter how much detached you are, how much spiritually inclined you are, no matter what your goal of life is, for heaven's sake, don't set wrong examples. Don't exert an unhealthy influence upon others. Others may have selfish interest. You may not have selfish interest. But the absence of selfish interest should not lead you to keep away from work itself. Work you must, with or without selfish interest. So one may say, but if I have nothing to gain, why should I work at all? This question comes again and again to us. What is in it for me? What do I get? And so on. Addressing that issue, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says in 25, Sakta karmanya vidvamso yatha kurvanti bharata kuryad vidvans tata asaktaha chikirshur loka sangraham. Very powerful, beautiful verse with a lot of practical application. Just as avidvansa, the ignorant ones, and out of their ignorance, they are naturally very attached to karma and karma phala. About the rewards, they are so eager, so emotionally dependent. They want success and success only. They want praise and praise only. They want progress and development only. They cannot be at peace, even if at a place, at some time, somebody criticizes them. So they are called saktaha. Sangha or sakti or asakti all imply an inner dependence, emotional dependence on part of any of us on work and on its results. We are not only attached to results, we are attached to work itself. For without work, our psychology is so conditioned, we feel worthless. If we are not doing, we feel, what am I here for? We feel we are wasting our life. We get a very negative image about ourselves if we are not doing anything. In one sense, it's understandable. In fact, that is what keeps the world going. People have that self-respect. People have that problem with their image, and therefore they keep doing something. So the society keeps running. But really speaking, as we go higher and higher in spiritual maturity, we realize that whether we work or not, the world will run. Nobody is indispensable. Nobody is such that the world will grind to a halt. Today there is a parallel topic. So many people are very loudly this matter of climate crisis. They say the way the ecology is disturbed, way the glaciers are melting because of global warming, the way the flora and fauna are getting disturbed because of human aggressiveness, the way human beings themselves, for the sake of profit, are putting chemicals in all the food that we are eating. To get more milk from cows, they put chemicals into the body of the cows. To get fruits and vegetables look better or grow faster, they put injections. They give shots to the plants, and in countless ways. So there is this issue that at this rate, the world, the globe is in a crisis. Or the planet Earth is in danger. This is often heard these days. Every day we hear from somewhere. But someone wrote a very powerful piece of article the other day. The Earth is not in a crisis. It is the humanity which will die. Or maybe with nuclear bombs or this or that, we will ensure that all kinds of major life forms die. The earth will not die, the article says. The earth has its own way of reviving itself. Even if all visible forms of life are gone, some bacteria and some microorganisms remain. After all of us are gone, killing each other, the earth will bring new life to itself. After some time, from those microorganisms or whatever, new growth, new evolution will take place. A very interesting article which objects to the statement, the earth is in danger. The article says, you are in danger, you will die. The earth will take some time and get back to, again, greenery and new life forms. The present generation, present population might die or might suffer endlessly or to a great extent. So we think we are indispensable. Without us, everything will stop. That doesn't mean we need to just lie back and be idle, but scientifically, that notion is wrong. Therefore, what we need to do is not become idle, but understanding that neither the fruits of action nor action itself is really all that worth getting attached to. Rather than falling into akarma, we must rise to, number one, sat karma, and then go further, sukshma karma. From gross activity, we must go into subtle activity, and as they say, we must be more creative. We must be more quality conscious, not simply running around, not showing quantity to everybody around. Avidvamsaha, ignorant people, don't have that intelligence. Therefore, they remain very attached, and many a time, though from a distance it seems they are doing a lot of work, actually they are not doing. In the 4th chapter, we are going to get a verse. Karmani akarmaya pashet. The wise would see inaction in what appears to be an action. And the wise are also able to see action in what appears to be inaction. Karmani akarma, akarmani karma cha. Whoever sees it, knows it all, says the 18th verse of chapter 4. We will go there later. Avidvamsa saktaha yatha karmani kurvanti or karmani yatha saktaha. Karmani saktaha. Karmani saktaha means attached to work. Yatha kurvanti. What is meant by yatha? Well, they are all the way, all the time, on their go, on their tip of their toes. They are on their toes, so to say. They are on the run. They sweat and toil. Today's generation really is, in a way, pitiable. With all the gadgets and electricity available 24 hours everywhere and so on, they have lost their life balance. When they work, when they sleep, sometimes when everybody else is waking up, this young lady or the young man shuts off her computer and goes to sleep. 4 a.m. is supposed to be when we have to get up. But many a time, younger generation goes to bed at 4 a.m. They work like that. For they have ambition. They have fear. Once I met a young lady who was doing PhD in Boston or some. She was visiting Hyderabad, and that's where I met her. She was visiting her parents or parents-in-law. And before even she came to the satsang, her parents told me, our daughter will join the satsang today. We told her, Swamiji has come, please join. And she's such a bright girl. She is doing PhD in some university in Boston, etc. And I thought, wow, such a bright girl. And when she actually came, young, she looked bright, she looked intelligent, she looked, pretty. My mother used to say, at young age, even a crow looks very beautiful. So youth, young girls, young boys, they look very good. But I'm trying to tell you, above all, she came, she sat, and then at the end of satsang, the parents made her offer a plate of fruits to me. She did everything so that the parents are pleased. But all through, her face was so tense. There was no smile. Smile only on demand. When it was required, she smiled. But otherwise, after she went away, after satsang, very quickly she disappeared from the place. Her parents said, Swamiji, sorry if you felt it was a bit odd that our daughter was so serious. It is because this PhD is very demanding and she works day and night. Therefore, she was not smiling, not cheerful enough. And I thought, my God, on one hand, we envy people who are in some prestigious university or working for prestigious corporations, looking at their visiting card, looking at their profile, we say, whoa. But if all that leads to living in tension, in stress, in fear, is it worth it? We wonder. Anyway, when one is attached, then what entails that kind of working is stress and anxiety and a whole lot of problems. It may lead to psychosomatic ailments also. It can disturb relationships. Anyway, enough of making some comments on what it is to work with attachment. Sri Krishna's advice is, those of us who have spiritual exposure, whose focus, whose goals, whose priorities have moved upwards, should not go away from work. The second line is a powerful advice. Kuryad vidwan Tatha asaktaha. Though inwardly unattached, the meaning of tatha means in the same way as those attached people do. People who are attached to the fruit are on their toes. We who are detached also have to be on our toes. For what? Chikirshuhu, kartum ichuhu. Wanting to do. Wanting to do what? Loka sangraham. The good of the society. We must work. We don't have to work overly, but we must work in an optimum manner, remaining cheerful. There must be no sign of laziness. There must be no sign of indifference or insensitivity. There must be no sign of disregard for various functions of the society. Society runs in a composite manner. There are singers, there are dancers, there are writers, there are speakers, there are technical people, there are married people, there are old people, young people. Society has a lot of departments, and we must have regard for all those departments. We respect them all, though our life has taken a different direction. Our goal is not making money anymore, not name and fame anymore. We, through Viveka and Vairagya, are eyeing at liberation. Therefore, we are asaktaha. There is sandhi here. Kuryad, vidwan, tatha, asaktaha. And is hidden. Please don't think both these halves of the shloka talk about sakta. Saktaha karmanya vidvamsa, kuryad vidvans tatha sakta. Puna sakta has come. No, it is asakta. The unattached have to work as enthusiastically as the ones who are attached for the good of the society. Oh, that means they have nothing to gain. They too have much to gain. They will thereby get increased chitta shuddhi, increased purity of mind. Purity of mind is of great value in the pursuit of liberation. Acharya Shankara says, Saktaha karmani. What is meant by Saktaha, attached? Bhagavan Bhashyakara so patiently says, Asya karmanaha phalam mama bhavishyati. The result of this work will come to me very soon and I will be happy. For example, parenting. Mother and father raise their daughter or son, taking great pains. Oof. Even when children are fit and healthy, taking them to school, bringing them back, feeding them, helping them get good rest, providing to them 100 things. And when children fall sick, 24 hours, the father and mother in two different ways typically attend to the child, taking them to doctors, bringing them back, giving medicines. Sometimes the mother will not sleep whole night because this son or daughter is unwell. But now see, that's a very, very appropriate setting to do with attachment or with non-attachment. Shankaracharya says, Asya karmanaha phalam mama bhavishyati. Now India also is increasingly going towards the Western model. When children cross 18, pretty much they are on their own, and a little later and a little later. And then when they marry, things further change. In a number of cases, the son and daughter-in-law or the daughter and son-in-law are away, and parents sometimes are hardly able to visit also. Various ground realities, various logistical problems. So, if the parents had imagined a lot, this son, this daughter will be by my side as I get older. Don't be too sure. Asya karmanaha phalam bhavishyati, say Shankaracharya. Ete putraha, etaha putryaha, mama raksham kurvanti. They will protect me. They will be by my side. No guarantee. Therefore, the best thing is give your best. If results come your way, good. If results don't come your way, very good. We must get ready for either success or failure. So avidvansa can't do that. They get angry. They don't want to hear such things. They say, when we have worked so much, we have to get results. Is it in your hands? But they behave as though everything is in their hands. Everything they control. O Bharata, Kuryad Vidwan, Atmavit. Shankaracharya does not hesitate to translate the word Vidwan. Vidwan basically means a learned person as Atmavit, because spiritual evolution in the light of Vedanta is no other than an increased understanding of our true nature. Knowing our true nature has a bearing on all that we do. Knowing I am the pure self can take care of everything else. You call it efficiency, stress management, handling loneliness, handling stressful times, handling adversity, as they call it. So many things. How do we handle it? I would even say finding energy in ourselves. If you do Atma Dhyana, energy will come in you. Because our energy is getting dissipated in false identification with the I, me, and my. This is a very important clarification. We think we are tired by work, but spirituality says it's not by work, but it is by the agitations you have during your work. It is the anxiety, it's the emotional disturbances. Somebody recognizes you, you are happy. But the world has better things to do than keep praising you. Sometimes your work goes unnoticed. Then that tires you out. That makes you feel like not living anymore. So where has work tired you? So it's not the work, but it is the agitations, low self-esteem, a sense of having failed, etc. How do they go? By Atma Jnana. Because Atma does not fail. Atma is way above success and failure. It's your personality, and especially it's what you think you are. You think, like Narada once attended a Swayamvara. A princess was going to choose who her husband would be. Many princes had come and taken chairs. Narada also went and sat. And he thought, who is more handsome than I am? So this Rajakumari will put the garland on my neck. So when the Rajakumari did not put the garland on his neck, moved on, he was devastated. How can he? And so on. But if Narada did not think of himself as an eligible bachelor, see, what you think of yourself matters a lot. If you think you are an eligible bachelor and that prospective bride did not select you, you would be devastated. If you think you are the best singer and when the audience does not applaud your singing, you will be devastated. If you think you are an excellent speaker, but people attending your lectures or classes go on dwindling, you will feel bad. If you think you are the pure self and the singer, the speaker, the eligible bridegroom, and 100 things, they are a passing show. They come and go. Some roles I play. I am not the role. I am above the role. Therefore, begin your day with some meditation on the pure self. Pratasmarami hradi samspurad tattvam Satchit sukham paramahansa gatim turiyam Yat swapna jagara sushuptam avaiti nityam Tad brahma nishkalamaham nacha bhuta sangaha. I am that Satchit. I am not the singer or mother or father or make a long list of all the things under the sun that you think you are and strike them off. Neti neti. Who am I? I am pure awareness. The fourth chapter of Brihadaranyaka Upanishad has the fourth Brahmana, a statement. Brahman doesn't grow, Brahman doesn't become less. That's what Yajnavalkya says. Neither grows nor becomes less. You are that. Atmavit. Wow, just a word Atmavit can take you into contemplation. Vidwan is Atmavit, Asakta Hasan. Therefore, inwardly you are detached. Tadvat kimartham karoti. Why would you then do work at all? Loka sangraham chikirshuhu. And Shankara connects us to the next shloka. Evam loka sangraham chikirshoho na mama atmavidaha kartavyamasti anyasya va loka sangraham muktva tatah tasya atmavidaha idam upadishyate. Another dimension upadishyate, upadeshaha kriyate. Another dimension of the same advice is, on one hand, keep working, be enthusiastic, but inwardly do not seek any recognition or reward. And the second dimension that is coming now is, you must be so careful. Your detachment should not confuse anybody, should not cause some kind of, topsy-turvy priorities in them. So 26 says, Na buddhi bedam janayet ajnanam karma sanginam joshayet sarva karmani vidvan yuktah samacharan. They say Bhagavad Geetā is a practical handbook for daily living. These are the shining examples. At one time you were attached to toys. Now you are no more attached to toys. But if children are playing with toys, don't make a face. Don't tell them, well, what is all this useless? Throw those toys away. Rama, Rama. There was a time when you were a child and you were so attached to the toys. So don't confuse them. Don't pour cold water on their enthusiasm. We say, Na buddhi bhedam janayet. You know that you don't have anything to gain from doing this or that work, except chitta shuddhi. But don't tell them, basically all this is useless work. Let me tell you, There's nothing that you need to get from this, and so on. Don't bring high philosophy on those who are not ready for it. They are karma sangis. They are attached to work. And without confusing them, rather, joshayet. You should inspire them. You should inject into them new enthusiasm. You should encourage them and not just stand at a distance and say to them, guys, do it, and so on. Yuktaha, you also get united. Join there. Or yuktaha is a description of internal state of mind, well united with the higher wisdom you have gained. Samacharan. And you may not have to do in terms of quantity so much as they do, but do your part and do that in a nice way. Some acharan, some means samyak. It is said that someone like Sri Ramana Maharshi every day would go for some time into the kitchen, cut some vegetables, or even when he is sitting by himself, rather than being idle, would clean some kamandalu, some of those water pots, or he used to make some walking sticks for his own use, or maybe he would give them to some old people who would come. He always used to do something. No laziness, no sitting quiet, and no insulting people who work. Na buddhi bedam janayet was thus demonstrated by great enlightened people also. Nalasyam sahajastitau is a statement in the Ramana Gita. In that state of abiding by your own true nature, which is called the natural state, sahajastiti, na alasyam. There is no being idle. No question of just waiting for the next meal, waiting for tea time. After that, waiting for dinner. Then after that, waiting for a cozy bed. Rama Rama. That kind of tamasic thinking is a forgotten chapter in the life of these enlightened people. They have naturally, without effort, I mean, this ability to stay in alertness, in observation, in paying attention. They notice everything, but they don't get attached in anything. Joshayet, we must bring more energy to people around us. Buddhehe bhedaha buddhi bedaha. Bheda somewhere means breaking. If you bring a fruit and open it, cut it into a few parts, that is phalam bhinnam. Bhinna is the adjective, bheda. What is buddhi bheda? Bhagavan Bhashyakara clarifies. Maya idam kartavyam. Oh, I must do this. And bhoktavyancha asya karmana phalam. And I must enjoy the result when it comes. As we said before, when we are attached to both work and the result, not just to one of them. Iti nishchita rupayaha buddhehe bhedanam chalanam. Bheda is breaking, or as Shankaracharya would prefer to explain, it is moving, shaking. Somebody was very clear about a certain work she was taking up. And you, at the wrong time, in the wrong place, go and give a philosophical lecture to her. And now her focus is disturbed. She thinks, should I really do it? If this auntie has said it right, I think I should just withdraw from this. I should be doing something else. And so on. Chalanam. You lost your focus. You lost your determination. Buddhi Vedantam na janayet. Na utpadayet. Don't arouse that kind of confusion in anybody. Anybody means among those ajnanam. The word is from the shloka. Ajnanam buddhi vedam ajanayet. Avivekinam. They have no viveka. And you may have viveka, but don't be too sure that they will pick up that viveka in a jiffy. They won't. On the contrary, in Hindi they have a saying to imply neither here nor there. Na ghar ka, na ghat ka. Ghat means the bathing ghat or the ghat where clothes are washed. And ghar means home. If one is like a washerman or washerman's donkey, so either is at home, tied properly, donkey is tied to the pole, or at the ghat doing work, ready to bring the clothes home. In the washerman's case, fine. But neither at home, eating and resting, nor at the washerman's ghat, simply roaming about in the village. Na ghar ka, na ghat ka. In Sanskrit, we have an expression. Ato brashtaha, tato brashtaha. Slipped from here, slipped from there. That happens to a lot of people who may not be really prepared, but who join some ashrams. So they did not marry, they did not take a job, they did not settle in any profession. So brashtaha, na ghar ka. And in the ashram, because they don't have viveka vairagya, they are unable to find any true inspiration in the sadhanas. And the curse of this Kali Yuga is a lot of people take interest in the intellectual side of Vedanta, but they have no interest in actual anushtana. They give a lecture on prayer, but they hardly pray. They explain what meditation is, but they hardly meditate. They talk about asana, pranayama, they hardly do. Once in a blue moon, let us say. Then, tato brashtaha, they have slipped from spirituality also. They embarked on a great journey, telling their family members, I am going for spirituality, which is the purpose of human life, blah, blah. All that they said, that is right. But a few miles down the road, they have lost all their interest. That is called na ghar ka, na ghat ka. Ato brashtaha, tato brashtaha. Then just hanging around at the mercy of rich people to look after them, provide facilities, comforts, this and that, but having no enthusiasm. That should not happen. It should neither happen to us, nor should we cause it to people. Avivekinam, karma sanginam, karmani asaktanam, asangavatam. Asakti or asanga are synonyms. Those who have asakti in some field of work, as long as it is not adharma. Suppose some youngster is planning to become a thief. Yeah, he says, I am going for a diploma in the art of stealing, which some institution has offered. I don't know whether there is any such institute. Anyway, so he is getting into the company of smugglers and thieves and other lawbreakers. Then you, of course, have to catch him by the ear and bring him. But as long as his interest or that youngster's interest is in something which is meaningful, it gives happiness to him, it brings some happiness to. You wanted him to become a doctor, but he wants to be a painter. Encourage him. You wanted him to become an attorney or engineer or chartered accountant, but he wants to go on and on with piano, music. Fine. That is not adharma. As long as the field of activity where somebody is getting in with enthusiasm is dharmad anapetam. Dharmad anapetam means unopposed to dharma. Encourage them. Of course, have a dialogue. If he is confused and is going there, you must help him get out of the confusion. But if he really has genuine interest in that field, which during sometimes in any society, this happens, which may not be socially respectable. You are a great computer engineer and your son just wants to work for some environmental issue and you don't know what is all this. So for you, in your eyes, it may not be all that good. There's not much money in it and such questions arise. No, don't confuse him. If he has the passion for that work, appreciate it. In fact, maybe he is original. Maybe he is creative. When was that? Some 6 months back, I read in Japan, a young man, 25-year-old or so, has embarked on a new profession. He just advertises in newspapers. My time is available for those who are feeling lonely. That is, he will accompany them to do some sightseeing. He will accompany them to sit in a park on a bench, talk to them. He will accompany them to watch a movie. He will accompany them to eat some popcorn, whatever. And there is such demand for him because I am sure he does it in a creative way. He joins them, he listens to them, he answers to them, he answers their, some kind queries. So not only for older people, I'm sure a lot of young people also in the world who have money to spare but no company, such fellows will be interesting and will be useful. Decent, healthy, dignified company in going around. A lot of people just feel very lonely in this world. So there is money also in it, by the way. Ajnanam. And lastly, Joshayet. Acharya Shankara says, Josha. Jush means to be pleased. Meda Devi Jushamana na Agat. You have Jushamana in the Meda Sukta. Jush means, to be pleased. This is not the same, I guess, as the Urdu word Josh. Josh is, but here at least they come together. Josh in Hindi and Urdu, is enthusiasm. But here it is, the verbal root is different, but make them happy about what they are doing. That is the actual meaning. Sarva karmani vidwan, a wise person, Atmavit, if you take Shankara Bhāshya of the earlier shloka, Swayam tadeva vidusham karma abhiyuktaha samacharan. Yukta, abhiyukta, again and again, means integrated. We must be first integrated. There was the son-in-law in Gurgaon, who had a lot of conflict with his father-in-law. And finally, it turned out, interestingly, this is a nice spiritual outlook towards psychology. The son-in-law, after a lot of consultation, admitted, yeah, really speaking, I have nothing against my father-in-law, but I am so agitated because of the way my life has gone. And therefore, since I don't have peace, I am unable to relate with him. If I set myself right in my work, in my domain, in other words, if I have peace in me, that's what I will give to my father-in-law. I don't have peace, therefore I give him agitation. The father-in-law also in a separate private counseling session came around and said, yeah, actually, why should I worry what the son-in-law does? But I interfere and I react too much, etc. because, really speaking, it's not because of him. I begin the day with some agitation. He agreed. You see? So what is yuktaha? Yuktaha is leave aside what the personality of the other person is. That comes later. Are you by yourself united? Are you at peace with yourself? With your way of living? If you are increasingly at peace with who you are, what you are doing, then all your relationships will get better. Therefore, spirituality time and again says, especially Eastern spirituality, Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, and all this, they increasingly, though all may not be fit for it at a given point of time, but if they can understand and get into it, nothing like that. They increasingly ask you to exercise, meditate, study the scriptures, find peace in yourself. Begin the day with peace as though filled in your bosom. Recharge your heart with some peace. I am peaceful. I am fine. How others behave is up to them. But I, left to myself, am happy. In this way, yuktaha. In the Sthita Prajna Lakshana, it was said, Nasti ayuktasya bhavana, nacha bhavayata shanti, ashantasya kutas sukham. If we are yukta, then you have sukha, you have shanti, you have ability to meditate, and you rise. Therefore, yukta is a word with various forms of significance. Self-control, living without conflict, doing every small or big thing with full attention, doing everything with proper involvement, nothing half-heartedly. All this comes into yukta. Yuktaha, abhiyuktaha, samacharan, joshayet. One must encourage. So the two verses that we saw today have a lot of bearing on our daily life. We should not be judgmental and put somebody down. Many elders make this mistake. They put their youngsters down. They'll say, at your age, you know how I was working and you just sitting and watching TV all the time. At their age, at that time, there was no TV or there was no computer. There are a lot of differences. But whatever, don't be judgmental. Let me end the talk by sharing with you what I remember having read in a popular little book on management with the cartoons and so on. I think it is one of those Rustomji and Parkinson. There are several books with a lot of cartoons, perhaps were written by R.K. Lakshman or some very nice books are there in the wonderland of Indian management and so on. And one of the cartoon and a message with it was, the chairman is going around the big factory for a quick look at how things are going on. And there is one little cabin and an executive with a tie, etc. is in that cabin. But to anybody's shock, it would be that fellow is putting his feet upon the table, sitting upon a nice armchair. The fan is on. Imagine it's Bombay or some such place. In these days, AC has come everywhere. Good old days. Fan is on, sitting with legs up, apparently not doing anything. So there is somebody along with the chairman. He says, "Sir, fire this guy immediately. It is middle of the day, 12 o'clock. Look, everybody is working. This fellow is sitting with legs up, looking at the ceiling." The chairman very softly says, "I know why you are saying this, but you know what? I know this young executive. Last time we saw him sitting like this, we got agitated, but later, next day, he came out with a very creative input to some machine design. So let us keep quiet. Who knows? He is sitting like that, and this time also, maybe tomorrow he will tell us some vital change in one of our designs of some equipment or machine that the company produces, which could have a lot of implications, benefit for us." So, saying that, Parkinson and Rustomji, they combined and produced that series of many books available at railway stations and all, even today. So they say, don't judge. This is easier said than done, but lot of elders, lot of in-laws, the mother-in-law judges the daughter-in-law. And other way also, the daughter-in-law judges the mother-in-law hurriedly. So with so many other relationships, people want others to be just like them, but others are others. They have a different personality. So one has to wait and see. All this is implied in these two verses. Don't cause confusion. See if you can in some way bring enthusiasm into others. So we have moved away from, in a way, not really, Atma and Paramatma. We have come to very practical level of relationships in daily life. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.